Did you just miss the biggest announcement in Australian immigration history? Right now, as you're watching this video, thousands of skilled workers around the globe are discovering a brand new visa that could completely transform their future in Australia. This isn't another temporary fix or a complicated system that leads nowhere. No, this is three crystal clear pathways that lead directly to permanent residency. And if you don't understand how this works in the next few minutes, you could be leaving your dream of living in Australia on the table. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to reveal which pathway matches your exact situation and the critical mistakes you must avoid that could derail your entire application before it even starts. Welcome to Aussie Global Affairs, your trusted source for everything related to Australian immigration, visa updates, and building your future down under. My name is here to guide you through the complexities of Australian immigration policy, and today we're covering something truly groundbreaking. The Skills in Demand visa has officially launched, and it represents the most significant overhaul of Australia's skilled migration program in over a decade. Whether you're a healthcare professional, a tradesperson, a tech worker, or someone in any of hundreds of other occupations, this new visa system has been designed with you in mind. We've spent hours analyzing the official documentation, consulting with migration experts, and breaking down the fine print so you don't have to. Everything you're about to learn is current, accurate, and could be the key to unlocking your Australian dream. Let me start by explaining why this matters so much and why the timing is absolutely crucial. Australia is facing unprecedented skills shortages across virtually every sector of the economy. After the pandemic disrupted immigration for nearly 2 years, the country is playing catch-up, and they need skilled workers urgently. Healthcare facilities are understaffed, construction projects are delayed due to lack of tradespeople, tech companies can't find enough qualified developers, schools need teachers, and aged care facilities are desperate for workers. The old system, primarily the temporary skill shortage visa, wasn't efficient enough to address these critical gaps while also providing workers with clear pathways to stay permanently. That's where the Skills in Demand visa comes in. The Australian government went back to the drawing board and created a completely new framework that balances Australia's needs with what international workers want most: certainty and a path to permanent residency. This isn't just a temporary work visa where you're left wondering what happens after a few years. From day one, you know exactly what you need to do to achieve permanent residency, and that changes everything. Now let's dive into the three pathways, and this is where you need to pay very close attention because choosing the right pathway for your situation is absolutely critical. The first pathway is called the Specialist Skills Pathway, and this is designed for the top tier of professionals who bring exceptional expertise to Australia. If you're earning at least 135,000 Australian dollars per year, this pathway is specifically tailored for you. The Specialist Skills Pathway recognizes that some professionals possess skills that are extremely rare and highly valuable to the Australian economy. We're talking about senior executives running major operations, specialized medical practitioners like cardiothoracic surgeons or interventional radiologists, highly experienced engineers working on complex projects, technology leaders architecting critical systems, university professors with specialized expertise, and other roles that command premium compensation because of their scarcity and importance. What makes this pathway attractive beyond the high salary is the streamlined nature of the requirements. The Australian government understands that at this level, you're bringing world-class expertise that's genuinely difficult to find anywhere. The English language requirements are more flexible compared to other pathways. While you still need to demonstrate competent English, which typically means an overall IELTS score of at least 6 with no band less than 6. There are more exemptions available for high earners, particularly if you studied in an English-speaking country or have extensive work experience in one. The occupation list for the Specialist Skills Pathway is also broader and more flexible. While you still need to be in a skilled occupation, the government recognizes that at salary levels of $135,000 and above, the market has already validated your skills. If an Australian employer is willing to pay you that much, it's strong evidence that you possess valuable expertise. Here's what you need to qualify for this pathway. First and foremost, you need a genuine job offer from an Australian employer who is willing to sponsor you. This employer must be approved as a standard business sponsor, which means they've demonstrated to the Department of Home Affairs that they're a legitimate business operating lawfully in Australia. Second, your salary package must be at least $135,000 per year. This includes your base salary plus superannuation, which is Australia's mandatory retirement savings contribution. The salary must meet market rates for your occupation, meaning the government checks that you're being paid fairly and not being exploited. Third, your occupation must be on the relevant skills list. For the specialist skills pathway, this is generally more flexible, but you still need to be in a genuinely skilled role. Fourth, you need to demonstrate the required level of English proficiency. Fifth, you must meet health requirements by undergoing medical examinations with approved doctors. Australia wants to ensure that new migrants won't place undue burden on the healthcare system. Sixth, you need to meet character requirements, which means providing police clearance certificates from every country where you've lived for 12 months or more over the past 10 years. The pathway to permanent residency through the specialist skills route is remarkably straightforward. After working in Australia for 3 years on this visa, you become eligible to apply for permanent residency through the employer nomination scheme. Your sponsoring employer nominates you for permanent residency, and because you've already been working in Australia successfully and contributing to the economy, the process is streamlined. There's no labor market testing required, which was previously a major hurdle where employers had to prove they couldn't find a suitable Australian worker. At the specialist skills level, your expertise speaks for itself. Let me give you some concrete examples of who might qualify for this pathway. A chief financial officer of a large corporation earning $150,000, a petroleum engineer with 15 years of experience managing complex offshore projects earning $140,000, a specialist anesthetist working in a major hospital earning $160,000, a senior software architect designing critical infrastructure for a tech company earning $145,000, or a university professor leading cutting-edge research earning $138,000. These are professionals at the peak of their careers, bringing exceptional value to Australia. Now let's move to the second pathway, which is where most skilled workers will find their opportunity. This is the core skills pathway, and it's designed for skilled professionals in occupations that are in high and persistent demand across Australia. The salary threshold for this pathway is 73,500 Australian dollars per year, which is much more accessible while still representing a good wage that ensures you can support yourself and your family. The core skills pathway is built around the core skills occupation list, which was recently updated and now includes over 450 different occupations. This is a comprehensive list covering healthcare, education, trades, engineering, technology, business services, and many other sectors. Let me walk you through some of the major categories and specific occupations that are included. In healthcare, we have registered nurses across all specialties including aged care nurses, critical care nurses, emergency nurses, and perioperative nurses. We have midwives, enrolled nurses, nursing support workers, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech pathologists, audiologists, podiatrists, optometrists, pharmacists, medical laboratory scientists, sonographers, radiographers, and general practitioners. The healthcare sector is absolutely booming in Australia as the population ages, and there's urgent need for qualified professionals at all levels. In education, the list includes early childhood teachers, primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, special education teachers, university lecturers, education advisors, and teacher aides. Australia's education system is expanding, and there's particular demand for teachers willing to work in regional areas and in subjects like mathematics, science, and special education. In the trades, we're looking at electricians, plumbers, carpenters, joiners, bricklayers, wall and floor tilers, plasterers, painters, metal fitters, mechanical fitters, automotive electricians, diesel motor mechanics, panel beaters, vehicle painters, air conditioning and refrigeration mechanics, and fibrous plasterers. Australia is in the midst of a massive construction boom with infrastructure projects, housing developments, and commercial buildings going up across the country. Qualified tradespeople are in extremely high demand and can command excellent wages. In engineering and technology, the list covers civil engineers, structural engineers, geotechnical engineers, transport engineers, electrical engineers, electronics engineers, mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, mining engineers, petroleum engineers, software engineers, developer programmers, systems analysts, database administrators, ICT security specialists, computer network professionals, telecommunications engineers, and engineering technologists. Australia's economy is increasingly technology-driven, and companies are competing for skilled IT professionals. In business and finance, you'll find accountants, management accountants, external auditors, financial analysts, financial investment advisors, actuaries, human resource professionals, marketing specialists, advertising specialists, management consultants, and business analysts. Even in professional services, there's strong demand for qualified individuals. The hospitality and food services sector includes chefs, cooks, cafe and restaurant managers, hotel and motel managers, caravan park managers, and licensed club managers. Australia's tourism and hospitality industry is rebounding strongly and needs workers at all levels. This is just a sample of the hundreds of occupations on the core skills list. The key point is that if you work in any of these fields and have the right qualifications and experience, you have a genuine pathway to Australia. So, what do you need to qualify for the core skills pathway? First, you need a job offer from an approved Australian employer willing to sponsor you. Second, your salary must be at least $73,500 per year, meeting market rates for your occupation. Third, your occupation must be on the core skills occupation list. Fourth, you need to demonstrate vocational English, which is a higher standard than the specialist pathway. For most occupations, this means an IELTS score of at least 6.5 overall, with no band less than 6, though some occupations like nursing and teaching require even higher scores, typically 7 in each band. Fifth, you need relevant qualifications for your occupation. For many professions, this means having your qualifications formally assessed by the relevant Australian assessing authority. For example, nurses need assessment from the Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency, engineers from Engineers Australia, teachers from the appropriate state or territory teaching authority, and tradespeople from Trades Recognition Australia. This assessment process verifies that your qualifications meet Australian standards. Sixth, you need relevant work experience in your occupation. The exact amount varies by occupation, but generally, you'll need at least 2 to 3 years of post-qualification experience. Seventh, you must meet health and character requirements just like the specialist pathway. The pathway to permanent residency through core skills typically takes 4 years. You come to Australia on your skills in demand visa and work for your sponsoring employer. During this time, you're building your life in Australia, contributing to the economy, paying taxes, and demonstrating your commitment to the country. After 4 years, you become eligible to apply for permanent residency through the employer nomination scheme. Your employer nominates you, and assuming you've maintained your employment and met all requirements, your permanent residency is approved. Let me talk about what life looks like during those 4 years on the skills in demand visa. You're not in limbo or waiting around uncertain about your future. You have a clear pathway ahead of you. You can bring your partner and dependent children with you to Australia. Your partner will generally have full work rights, meaning they can work in any occupation for any employer. Your children can enroll in Australian public schools, which are free for visa holders in most states. You have access to Medicare, Australia's public healthcare system, which covers doctor visits, hospital care, and subsidized medications. You can travel in and out of Australia as much as you need to, visit family back home, take holidays, whatever you require. You can study if you want to upskill or change careers. You're building a credit history, establishing bank accounts, potentially buying property, and putting down roots. By the time you apply for permanent residency after 4 years, you're not a newcomer anymore. You're an established member of the Australian community. Let's talk about the financial reality of moving to Australia on the core skills pathway. If you're earning the minimum of $73,500 per year, your take-home pay after taxes will be approximately $55,000 to $58,000 annually, depending on your specific circumstances and tax deductions. That works out to around $4,600 per month in your pocket. Now let's talk about living costs. Rent is usually the biggest expense. In Sydney or Melbourne, a 2-bedroom apartment in a decent suburb might cost you between $400 and $600 per week, which is roughly $2,000 to $2,600 per month. In Brisbane, Adelaide, or Perth, you might find something similar for $350 to $500 per week. Regional areas are even more affordable. Groceries for a family of 3 or 4 typically run about $200 to $300 per week, or roughly $1,000 per month. Utilities, including electricity, gas, water, and internet, might add up to about $300 per month. Transport costs depend on whether you have a car or use public transport, but budget around $200 to $400 per month. Health insurance, if you need private cover beyond Medicare, might be $150 to $250 per month. When you add it all up, a family living reasonably comfortably in Australia might spend $3,500 to $4,500 per month, leaving you with a small surplus for savings, entertainment, and unexpected expenses. It's not extravagant, but it's a good quality of life with access to excellent healthcare, education, and a safe environment. Of course, if you're earning more than the minimum, or if your partner is also working, your financial situation improves significantly. Many skilled workers on the core skills pathway earn $80,000 to $100,000 or more, which provides much more financial breathing room. Now let's discuss the third pathway, which is the essential skills pathway. This is the newest addition to the system, and it's still being finalized in terms of all the details, but here's what we know so far. The essential skills pathway is designed for workers in occupations that are critical to the functioning of Australian society, but may not meet the higher salary thresholds of the other pathways. This pathway will focus particularly on sectors like aged care, disability support, early childhood education, agriculture, hospitality, and other essential services. The exact salary threshold hasn't been finalized, but it will be lower than the $73,500 threshold of the core skills pathway, making it accessible to workers in lower-paid but essential occupations. What makes the essential skills pathway particularly interesting is its focus on regional Australia. The government is trying to encourage skilled migration to areas outside the major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Regional areas are growing and developing, but they often struggle to attract workers because everyone wants to live in the big cities. To address this, the essential skills pathway includes incentives and potentially faster pathways to permanent residency for workers willing to commit to regional areas. Working in regional Australia has several advantages. First, the cost of living is significantly lower. Housing costs might be half of what you'd pay in Sydney. Your money goes much further, and you can enjoy a higher standard of living on the same salary. Second, regional communities are often very welcoming to migrants because they need workers and genuinely appreciate people who choose to live there. You might find it easier to integrate and build a social network. Third, your children might have access to smaller schools with more individual attention. Fourth, you're closer to nature with easy access to beaches, forests, and outdoor activities. The pathway to permanent residency through essential skills will likely be similar to core skills, but potentially accelerated for regional workers. Some regional visas already allow for permanent residency applications after 3 years instead of 4, and it's expected that essential skills will follow a similar model. Now let me address something really important that applies to all 3 pathways. You cannot apply for these visas independently. You must have employer sponsorship. This is not a points-based visa where you submit an expression of interest and hope to get invited. You need a genuine job offer from an Australian employer who is willing and able to sponsor you. So how do you find these sponsoring employers? This is where many people get stuck, but it's absolutely doable with the right approach. First, use Australian job boards. The main ones are Seek, Indeed Australia, and LinkedIn. When you search for jobs, look for postings that mention visa sponsorship or phrases like open to international candidates or sponsorship available. Many employers specifically state in their job ads whether they're willing to sponsor. Second, target industries and regions with known shortages. Healthcare, aged care, technology, trades, and regional areas are your best bets. These sectors are actively seeking international workers and are familiar with the sponsorship process. Third, tailor your application materials to Australian standards. Australian resumes are typically 2 to 3 pages long. Include a professional summary at the top. List your work experience in reverse chronological order with bullet points highlighting achievements, and include your education and relevant certifications. Cover letters should be concise, 1 page maximum, and directly address the job requirements. Fourth, be upfront about your visa situation. Don't try to hide the fact that you need sponsorship. Mention it in your cover letter and explain why you're an excellent candidate despite the additional paperwork involved. Highlight your qualifications, experience, and enthusiasm for moving to Australia. Fifth, consider working with recruitment agencies that specialize in international placements. There are agencies that specifically focus on helping skilled workers find sponsoring employers in Australia. They understand the visa process and can connect you with employers who are ready and willing to sponsor. Sixth, network online. Join LinkedIn groups for your profession in Australia, participate in discussions, and make connections. Sometimes jobs come through networking rather than formal applications. Seventh, if your profession requires registration in Australia, start that process before you even have a job offer. For example, if you're a nurse, begin your application with AHPRA. If you're an engineer, get your skills assessed by Engineers Australia. Having this done shows employers that you're serious and proactive, and it speeds up the overall timeline. Once you have a job offer, the application process begins. Your employer needs to be approved as a standard business sponsor if they're not already. Then they nominate you for the specific position, providing evidence that the job is genuine, that you have the required skills, and that the salary meets all requirements. After the nomination is approved, you can lodge your visa application. You'll need extensive documentation. Your passport, of course, proof of your identity, your qualifications including degrees, diplomas, and certificates, evidence of your work experience, such as reference letters from previous employers, your skills assessment if required for your occupation, English language test results, police clearance certificates from every country where you've lived for 12 months or more over the past 10 years, health examination results from approved doctors, and evidence of your relationship with your partner and children if you're including them in your application. The processing times vary depending on the pathway and your individual circumstances. The Department of Home Affairs publishes estimated processing times on their website, but generally you should expect anywhere from 3 to 12 months. During this time, the department is verifying all your documentation, conducting background checks, and ensuring you meet all requirements. Let's talk about costs because this is a significant investment. The visa application charge for the main applicant is several $1,000s. Additional applicants like your spouse and children also incur charges, though at a reduced rate. You'll also need to pay for English language tests, around $350 per test. skills assessments, which can range from $500 to $1,500 depending on your profession, police clearance certificates, usually about $50 to $100 per country, health examinations around $300 to $500 per person, and potentially migration agent fees if you use a registered agent to help with your application, which can range from $2,000 to $5,000 or more. All told, you should budget at least $10,000 to $15,000 Australian dollars for the entire application process for a family. This is a substantial amount of money, but you're investing in a new life in one of the best countries in the world. For most people, it's money well spent. Here at Aussie Global Affairs, we're passionate about helping people understand Australian immigration and achieve their goals of living and working in Australia. We know that the immigration system can be complex, confusing, and sometimes overwhelming. That's why we're committed to breaking down the information into clear, understandable content that empowers you to make informed decisions about your future. If this video has helped you understand the skills and demand visa and the 3 pathways to permanent residency, I would be incredibly grateful if you would hit that like button. Your likes tell us that this content is valuable and help us reach more people who are dreaming of moving to Australia. Every like makes a difference in helping others discover this information. Please share this video with anyone you know who might be considering moving to Australia. Whether they're friends, family members, colleagues, or people in online forums and groups, sharing this information could genuinely change someone's life. Immigration decisions are some of the biggest decisions we make in our lives, and having accurate, up-to-date information is crucial. Make sure you're subscribed to Aussie Global Affairs and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Australian immigration policy changes regularly, and we're constantly publishing new content about visa updates, policy changes, life in Australia, and success stories from people who've made the move. By subscribing, you'll stay informed and ahead of the game. Do you have questions about the skills in demand visa? Are you currently preparing your application? Or have you already made the move to Australia and have insights to share? Please drop your thoughts, questions, and experiences in the comments below. We read every single comment and try to respond to as many as we can. The community here is incredibly supportive, and your comment might help someone else who's in the same situation. I want to leave you with this thought. The skills in demand visa represents one of the most significant opportunities in Australian immigration in years. The pathways are clear, the process is more streamlined than previous systems, and Australia genuinely needs and wants skilled workers like you. If you've been thinking about moving to Australia, if it's been a dream you've put off or thought was too difficult, now is the time to take action. Start today. Update your resume. Take your English language test, get your qualifications assessed, start applying for jobs. Every journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and your journey to Australia can start right now. Don't let fear, doubt, or uncertainty hold you back. Thousands of people just like you have successfully navigated this process and are now living happy, prosperous lives in Australia. You can too. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. The fact that you're still here tells me you're serious about this opportunity, and I'm genuinely excited for you. Australia is an incredible country with endless opportunities, beautiful landscapes, diverse cities, excellent quality of life, and a welcoming, multicultural society. If you bring your skills, your determination, and your willingness to contribute, Australia will reward you with opportunities to build an amazing life. I wish you the very best on your immigration journey. May your applications be successful, may you find an employer who values what you bring to the table, and may you build a wonderful future in Australia. Remember that Aussie Global Affairs is here every step of the way with information, guidance, and support. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep planning, and keep moving forward. Your Australian adventure awaits, and we'll be here to help you navigate every step of the journey. Take care, stay focused on your goals, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now, and good luck with your move to Australia.